Hi, angels. In today's episode, I want to talk to you about keeping your spiritual journey private. We live in a world where we're constantly comparing, we're watching what everybody does, we're putting ourselves out there to be seen so much, and we take on so many opinions, we take on so many perspectives from other people that I really want to encourage you today and help give you permission that it's okay to have parts of yourself that you keep to yourself. It's okay to go on a spiritual journey or a journey of self-discovery, a journey of self-awareness, a journey of self-love, and you do not have to tell anybody about it, angel. You can keep it to yourself and keep it private because it is going to help keep you on track. It is going to help keep you in alignment, and it's going to be for your highest good. So let's dive in. Hello, my beautiful souls. In today's episode, I want to talk to you about keeping parts of yourself private, that you do not have to share absolutely everything with the world. And how this come about is I'm running an inner circle group coaching container of like-minded, beautiful women for the year. And one of the girls said, I've just decided that I am going to keep this really close to my heart and keep it private, and I'm not going to share this with other people, and I just want to stay connected with you girls in the group and just really take some time to work on healing myself this year. And I said to her, like, I love that is amazing. And I had another girl that has also said, she said, I actually moved away, moved interstate. She said, because I found that so many of my people around me, like parents, close family members, just have so many opinions and so many ways of telling me that's what I think I should be doing, how I should be showing up and doing things. And I felt like they were controlling my life a bit. They thought this spiritual stuff that I was wanting to kind of dive into or I talked to them about, they would kind of shut it down and make me feel just not myself and make me feel like I was doing the wrong thing, or make me feel like I was a bit of an outcast or a bit of a black sheep in the family. And so she said, we moved interstate. And I got thinking about that. And I thought, I said, thanks girls, thanks for the inspo. I'm going to dive into a podcast episode about that, because I feel that it is so important that it's okay to keep a part of yourself private. It's okay to keep a journey of self-discovery, a journey of self-love, a journey of self-awareness, a journey of self-connection. You do not have to share it with everybody, my friends, because we're living in a time where everything is so exposed or public, or we are so connected to people, you're connected to people online, you're connected to people through your phone, you're connected to people, like we're just out and about so much more than we probably were say years ago. Like, I'm showing my age now. I was talking to my daughter about this not so long ago, talking to the kids, and said, like, if we wanted to talk to our friends after school, like we had the really showing my age, we would have the phone and we would have to actually call them, and it had it was connected by a cord to the wall, and we would maybe have to kind of sneak around the corner or go somewhere in private to chat with our friends after school. We weren't accessible to them all the time. Sometimes your parents or people could hear your conversations, but we weren't out there as much connected to people. So we weren't as exposed to people's input, people's opinions, people's perspective, comparing what we are doing to everybody else. So it has its pros and cons, right? I mean, in a world with so much social media and technology, it's great. We can access so much information. We can access so much wisdom, so much learning, so many teachings that, we can access income. Like, there is just so much, connect with people overseas. Like, it is absolutely an incredible tool. But it can add this extra layer of pressure, right? And not only with social media and with technology, we're talking to people. We're out a lot more than what we were, say, go back 10, 15, 20 years ago. We're out a lot more with people in the workplace, or, with mums at school, or just with friends. We're socializing a lot more. Whereas back when I was younger, you would kind of come home after school and have your family dinner, and you kind of stay at home. I was on 10 acres, so we couldn't kind of really go out too much. You might go around the neighborhood, connect with friends, but you kind of come home and you were back in your sacred space. There is so much more access to going out and entertainment and that need to be constantly stimulated, that it can become quite overwhelming. So we feel this pressure where we are comparing what we do to other people. We're watching what other people do. We are open to so many more opinions by, you can share something on Facebook and then you've got a whole heap of comments, and that can rattle you. It can encourage you, but it can also kind of make you second guess what you're doing. If you put a comment up or a post up and people don't agree with you, it leaves you more exposed and it leaves you more open to people having input into your life. And it can also be behind closed doors. It can also be like at home with your partner or with your kids or with your parents or your close, siblings or close friends, where everybody has always got an opinion and everybody has always got their opinion is based on their perspective. And there's nothing wrong with that. There are people around that love you and support you and want to help you. But also, when you take on other people's stuff, you're also taking on like a glimmer, like a bit of a piece of their perspective, how they would show up and how they would do things, that it might not always be in alignment with you. It might not always be in alignment with your heart and soul. So I want to encourage you today that it is okay to keep things private. It is okay to keep things to yourself. And especially when you do find that you either start to go on a bit of a journey of self-discovery, or that you start to embark on a spiritual journey, you want to get so connected with your heart and soul, and you want to listen to your advice from your higher self, from your soul, from your inner wisdom, from your intuition, that sometimes it's better to put the blinkers on and to have that bit of time and space where you go inwards and you honor your needs, and you do not have to tell everybody. You don't even have to tell people you're on a spiritual quest or a spiritual journey. Sometimes people, they don't even feel like they are going on a spiritual journey, but they might just find they're going to yoga a little bit more, or they're going to some women's circles, or they're going to a healer, or they're going to, reading some books or listening to some podcasts, that they're starting to just open up that little spark of learning a little bit more about themselves. And I like to think of a spiritual journey as getting connected more with your soul. And it does not mean that, you have to completely dive into everything, journaling, meditation, all the tools, all the rituals. It can simply be you're just starting to become a little bit more aware of yourself, your needs, who you are, what you want, and getting more connected to your spirit as opposed to external influences. And the more you can honor you and give yourself this little bit of time and space in private, the more you are going to get more connected with your higher self, with your guidance that is going to help steer you on the path for your highest good. Because we have this internal compass, we have this internal guidance system, and it can get thrown off course when you take on all of the external influences. So I really want to encourage you today to go, it's okay to just be a little bit more private. It's okay to go inwards and not share everything with the world. I mean, you'll absolutely see people on social media who are going on a bit of a spiritual journey, or they're changing a few things and they're documenting everything and they're sharing things. So you kind of feel maybe that you need to share your journey a little bit, or that you need to ask people for advice and ask people for opinions, and it's good to want to learn, it's good to want to grow, it's good to want to be the seeker and seek out wisdom and seek out different perspective and seek out knowledge and teachings. It's an amazing thing to do, but I encourage you to be very mindful of where you get your wisdom, where you get your guidance from, and just checking in that is somebody that is living a life that you want to live, is somebody that has maybe walked the path that you want to walk, is somebody that has gone through a bit of a spiritual journey themselves, is somebody that you are inspired by, that you want to learn from. And so just be very mindful of who you follow, who you take advice from with anything in life, right? Not just the spiritual journey, with everything in life, because that is also going to help shape your opinions, that is also going to help shift your perspective a little bit, that is also going to help you with your wisdom. So you have got amazing access to some incredible tools. And I do encourage you to, read books, dive into podcasts, like incredible people. Absolutely, you can learn so much from them. I do, I follow people like Wayne Dyer, Esther Hicks, Napoleon Hill, all these amazing speakers or spiritual teachers. I love learning from them and growing from them. I think they have so much incredible wisdom to offer. So yes, it's okay to open yourself up about that, about taking on board what they have to share and teach, but just being mindful of who you tell, and just being mindful that you don't have to tell everybody everything. I know there's things for myself that there's a part of me that, like, I've been with my husband since we were 16. We've been together for a very, very long time. And we did everything together, did so much together. I would run all my opinions by him, like just seek out so much of my, I guess, guidance from him, that as I started to go on a little bit of a spiritual journey, I started to go, I actually need to stand on my own 2 feet a little bit more. I actually need to learn to trust in myself a little bit more. I actually need to learn to go, it's okay that we do different things. It's okay that we like different things. It's okay that we have different opinions about things. It's okay that I might be on a little bit more of a spiritual journey than what he would, or what my kids would, or my family members. And I started to discover, the more I kind of spoke about things with people, sometimes I was met with a little bit of maybe resistance. Sometimes I was met with maybe a little bit of, I guess, just this feeling of just questioning myself, that I decided to keep a part of myself private. And I decided to go, you know what, it's okay that we're on different journeys. We can come together in marriage, we can come together as parent and child, we can come together as, a daughter and have our parents, we can come together as friends, but we do not need to tell them absolutely everything. And I found that in keeping a little part of myself sacred, a little part of myself, just for me, it actually felt really nice. And it actually felt, the more I started to deep dive, the more I started to back myself a little bit more, back my own judgment, the more I started to turn to, say, like my angel cards, or get guidance from books, or get answers from podcasts. And the more I started to open up my intuition, the more I started to build this muscle of confidence in myself. And sometimes I started to feel like, am I cheating on them? Am I leading two separate lives? And you're not, okay? You're absolutely not. It's okay to have a part of you that you just keep sacred. I had one of my clients, and her husband was going through a bit of a hard time with a health journey. And I said to her, the moment I said to her what I'm about to tell you, I thought to myself, no, this isn't right. But it just came out of my mouth. And I said, do you feel like maybe he might benefit from coming to yoga? And then as soon as I said that, I went, no, she doesn't want him here. She needs this for herself. And she actually said to me, she said, no, Lise, she said, this is my sacred sanctuary and I don't want him here. Not because I don't love him, not because I don't care about him, but because I just need this for me. And it's not selfish. It's nothing that you're doing wrong. It is just okay to keep a little bit of a part of you that is your sacred sanctuary. It's okay to keep a part of you that you just need, like these practices, like maybe going to yoga, or, the people that you mix with who are maybe more like-minded in that spiritual realm. It's okay to have separate groups of people. It's okay to have separate yoga classes or women's circles or things that you go and do on your own. You don't need to come home and share everything with your partner. You can, and what I find is when you go on a bit of a spiritual journey yourself, that what can happen is over time you start to grow, you start to level up, you start to gain a little bit more confidence, you start to gain a little bit more wisdom. Some people love that and some people are inspired by that. And some people can feel a little bit threatened, and some people can feel like you might rattle them a little bit, or they might feel like you have changed. I know with my partner, he's amazing, and I will share bits with him and talk to him about experiences that I've had, or things I've seen, visions I've seen in meditations, or things that I've discovered when I've been journaling. And sometimes there's some things I'm open to share and open to talk about, and he is so amazing and so supportive. And I've noticed over the years that I've seen him grow in his level of awareness, in his trust in the spiritual realm, in his trust in signs and synchronicities. So it can just be that you just naturally start to rub off on them a little bit. But then there's also on the other extreme where I might want to teach them things. I might want to share them, with them things where I kind of get that conflict or that bit of resistance. Like they go, I don't want to hear that. Like, I don't want to hear your wisdom. I don't want to hear your teachings. I just want to talk to you and I just want to vent to you. I don't need you to fix me. I don't need you to kind of try and help me. I just want to listen. And that can be a little bit confronting at times as well. And I've had to learn. I am still learning. I am still working on this, because when you learn things about yourself and you learn so much more wisdom, you learn tools, you learn a different way of life, it's almost like this spiritual journey opens up like a whole new door for you, and you can just see so much power. You can see so much potential. You can see how much has helped you that you want to share it with everybody around you, and you want to help them. You get excited and you're like, you should do this. You should go to yoga. You should start meditating. You should read this book. And sometimes they're like, whoa, like I'm just so not interested. And we have to kind of step back a little bit, because it can create a little bit of conflict and can create a little bit of resistance. And it can make you, I guess, second guess yourself, or it can make you kind of retract that little bit more. It can make you, doubt on what you're doing. And that doesn't mean that you're doing anything wrong. It just means that you're just on different paths at times. And it just means that you've just maybe awakened a little bit more than people around you. And that's okay. Like, that's the cycle of life. And I pulled this card the other day. I was just going into my group coaching container and I pulled this card, and this card was all around like your around the frequencies of divine love and the networks that light up or fill your universe. And it was talking about groups, working with groups in the spiritual realm. And I just want to share this a little bit with you because it really hit home for me. It said that it is important to work with groups that you can serve. Although you may love your family, for example, they may not be the group for you. They may not be the group you can best serve. Perhaps those who are open, willing, and receptive to your spiritual gifts are outside of your family. Perhaps your family can benefit spiritually from you in the role of mother or son or daughter, but not in the role of spiritual mentor. That hit me hard. That hit me like a ton of bricks, because when you might show up in a spiritual capacity as a mentor, as a nurse, as a giver, as a teacher, as a creative. Like, we all have different ways that we show up, that our divine talents flow through us, that we give to groups that we serve. And then you might find you go home and the people that you're at home with are maybe not interested in what you're doing in your divine talents or in how you serve others. And that's okay. You can show up best spiritually for them by just being their parent, by being their friend, by being their lover, by being their mother, and not having to be that fixer, that teacher, that mentor, that guide. And that's a hard pill to swallow at times, girls, when you really want to help everybody around you. But it was just a really powerful reminder for me to go, it's okay to go on that spiritual journey alone. And then it's okay to just be the role of mother and listener, or partner or friend, and not have to fix and not have to heal and not have to try and teach them, but to just sit there and just listen in that different role. And so I guess what I want to do is encourage you to just stay really true to yourself, because when you go on this bit of a spiritual quest or this bit of a spiritual journey, you're going to find that you are going to open yourself up to things that you like, things that you are starting to like that the old you might not have. I shouldn't say the old you, but you know what I mean? Like the version of you in the past might not have been as receptive to this. Or, it could be, for instance, a simple example. I thought to myself the other day, I thought, if I was to die, the songs that I would have at my funeral, my family wouldn't even know because what to play. Some things they do. They know like Somewhere Over the Rainbow, some things they do. But there's a part of me that I drive around in my car and I listen to some of the most beautiful spiritual songs that I play in the yoga studio because it puts me in a really calming state. Or I listen to songs. I've got this Raising My Vibrations playlist, which is all about like raising your vibration and feel good energy. And I'll play them and I'll kind of drive around in my car by myself. And when I get in the car with my family, sometimes they play a little bit, but often not, or they'll go, what's this shit, and turn it off. But there's a part of me that I just sit in my little bubble and I listen to the music that I want to listen to and I move the way that I want to move. And I feel like I'm just so connected to myself that I feel that there's a part of me that people probably around me don't even know, that I just keep to myself and I just keep private. And it feels so good. It feels so nourishing. It's almost like you're just so, you want to protect that part of you. You want to allow yourself to listen to the music that you want to listen to. You want to allow yourself to read the books that you want to read. You want to allow yourself to journal and to have this alone time where you can just get connected to yourself, where you can just be yourself. It's like when you dance at home when no one's watching, right? And you put on the music that you want to listen to and you just dance. And you might be a little bit different to what you would do out in public. And that is fine, girls. Like, I want to encourage you to do that, because what starts to happen is when you start to block out other people's opinions a little bit, or you might listen, like I always listen, but I choose not to take that on board. Like, I'm going to listen, but I might disagree with it, but I feel like I don't have to tell you that I disagree with it. I just feel that that's okay for you, but that's not okay with me, and I'll just kind of keep that to myself. I don't have to argue back. I don't have to disagree with you. I can just listen, acknowledge, and let that go. But what happens is the more you start to get really aligned with yourself, you start to change a little bit, right? You start to know who you are. You start to know what you want. You start to grow in confidence. You start to stand up for yourself a little bit more, or maybe you choose to stay a little bit more quiet, and maybe the past version of you might have argued a little bit more, or being a little bit more reactive, and you feel a little bit more calmer, you feel a little bit more connected, you feel a little bit more at peace because you're doing these practices. You might be going to yoga, you might be journaling, you might be doing meditation, you might be listening to audios, podcasts, reading books. You're learning a new way of being. You're learning a new way of life. You're learning to get more connected out in nature. You're learning to live with more peace, that you're not as fiery or reactive as what you used to be. You start to make different choices. You might start to nourish your body a lot more. You might go out with people less. You might do different things that people start to notice a change in you. And sometimes people might not like that. And sometimes people can feel that, oh, you've changed, you're a bit different. Or they notice that, maybe let's use an example. Maybe you might feel that as you go on a bit of a self-love, self-awareness, spiritual journey, you want to nourish your body a bit more. You might not be the drinker that you used to be. You might not maybe want to, socialize as much as you do, or when you go out you might choose to have a different drink, and everybody's used to you drinking wine or having a drink, and suddenly they might say, what's wrong with you, like, why aren't you drinking, what's wrong with you, and they start to notice it, and it can make people, your choices can make people feel a little bit uncomfortable in themselves. So sometimes it's not even about you. Your change brings about a little bit of a stirring up in other people, because people want you to stay the same. People want you to be at their level, and people want you, it's not about different levels in good and better or right and wrong, or it's not about that, but it's a different vibration, it's a different energy that you're emitting, and people pick up on that, and it starts to all of a sudden highlight maybe what they need to work on, or it might all of a sudden start to highlight a bit of discomfort in them because they're happy coasting along the same. And the more you share about that, the more you tell people what you're doing, sometimes unintentionally they can put their own opinion on you or put their perspective on you because they want you to stay in this same vibrational bubble with them, that they might make you feel a little bit bad, or they might make you stir something up that is honestly a reflection of them. Like, I've had this conversation with people before, like in terms of drinking. I'm not a big drinker. I used to drink a lot more, definitely. I used to party a lot more, absolutely. And then I started to go, it just doesn't make me feel good. Like, what does it matter? And I would say to people, like, what does it matter what's in my glass? Like, who cares if you're having, an afternoon drink together and I've got water with a piece of lemon and ice in it and you've got a wine? Like, what's the big deal? What is that? What does that matter? But people might be used to you coming home and having a wine after work with your partner, or having a drink socially on the weekends. And when you suddenly they notice that you're not doing it anymore, it stirs up this feeling in them that maybe they need to change, but they don't want to. Or maybe they might feel a bit angry towards you. They might feel a little bit resentful towards you. They might feel that, they might say something like a snide comment to you, and it can throw you off and it can make you feel a little bit like, am I doing something wrong? It can make you feel a bit of a disconnect with people. That I want to encourage you to stay true to yourself, to stay in your lane, and to just feel into what's right for you and honor that and keep doing that, which comes back to this bit of protecting that part of you, keeping that part of you sacred, and keeping that part of you so close to your heart that you are going to stand in your authentic power, and you are going to either maybe stand up for yourself a little bit and just say, in a nice, compassionate, loving way, no, I'm not having that. Or, I just need a little bit of time. I just want to take care of my body a little bit more, and I would just really appreciate it if you'd respect that. Or just saying no, simply saying no, and starting to have boundaries around you to protect who you are, to protect what you're doing, to protect the journey that you are on, because you are not always going to align with people. And you might find when you start to go on a little bit more of a spiritual journey that people drift away, that maybe relationships that were aligned with you in the past, you suddenly notice that it's maybe not serving you. Suddenly notice that those people around you don't make you feel good. It could be the opposite. You could be in a circle of friends and you might notice that they're starting to change a little bit and they're starting to go on a spiritual journey, and you're the one having that little bit of judgment. You're the one having that bit of criticism. You're the one wanting them to kind of join in what you're doing. You're the one that's kind of feeling a little bit, it's stirring something up in you. So you could be on either end of the scale, girls. Like, you could be, chances are if you're listening to me, you're the one kind of doing the inner work, but you could just be starting out on your journey. And I want you to just have awareness and notice what comes up for you around you with people. And sometimes people can start to drift away from you. Relationships can start to fall down. You might feel a need that you want to step back into your cave a little bit and retreat in your cave or retreat in your home, or be very mindful of the people that you're hanging around and be very protective of your energy. And that is an okay thing to do, because at the end of the day, girls, you're only responsible for you. You need to protect your energy. You need to honor your soul's needs. And it's okay to get more in alignment with what feels right in your heart, because many of us live in our head, constantly questioning, constantly analyzing, constantly thinking. That when you get back and you ask the question in your heart, like, what is right for me? Is that person in alignment with me? Do I need to have a little bit of time by myself? And go inwards a little bit. What does your heart tell you when that question arises? I pulled this other card this morning, and it talks about conscious connections. And in it talks about healing, like in your friendships or your immediate relationships. And this can happen through your willingness to express your true feelings and allow a situation to either fall apart or come together according to the greater workings of life. Sometimes webs that have joined people together are broken, and that is appropriate as people may outgrow what once held them together, like your common interests or what you used to do together. Sometimes the ties that bond us together are so strong that they are able to withstand a great deal of pressure and still remain intact. The webs of connection between us will sever or sustain based on the higher wisdom of life itself. Either way, healing happens in the resolution of our feelings, and we are once again able to feel free. Forgive and be ready to move on to the next stage of relating either with a person who has been in connection with us for a few times or someone new. This oracle asks you to remain open to healing connections and to allow people to be close to you that are in alignment for you. Trust in the process that draws people in and out of your life, and resist nothing and seek the wisdom in all. So I definitely think there are times when in your life when there are people that you have these close soul bonds with, that, whether it's a partner or a child, and it's okay to be on different journeys, and you've still got that soul bond together, you've still got that closeness together, but it's okay to go in your own separate way a little bit in terms of that spiritual journey, or in terms of your interests, or in terms of what you do, in terms of how you show up, to honor your own needs and to respect their needs as well. So there are times in your life where there are these sacred bonds where you might feel a bit of a disconnection, where you might feel maybe you level up and then your partner might grow to meet you, or maybe they might level up and then you might grow to meet them. So you're going to have times of disconnection throughout your relationship, but there are those relationships that you are just going to still keep coming back together. And there might be a time period where you just need to keep a little bit of what you're doing to yourself, right? Then there might be other relationships, friendships, working environments, people that you've been in your life for years that may start to drift away, and that may start to unravel either through choice, through your choice, or maybe the universe intervenes and it kind of forces through a way of a disagreement or an argument, or someone moves, logistically, and you might just naturally gravitate away. Trust and surrender in the process of that's what's right for you, and that is what is right for them. So just a couple of little tips to finish off here, okay? So noticing that people will drift in and out of your life, season, reason, or lifetime, right? And just surrendering to the bigger divine plan that is okay. And honoring those relationships that are close to you, that you can still be together in marriage, you can still be together as mother and child, but have that alone time. It's okay to have that time alone. You do not have to do everything together. Pick quiet times, whether it's, in the morning before everyone wakes, or when, everyone goes to school or at work and you've got that bit of time to yourself, or of an afternoon or an evening. Find those times where you can be alone, that you can do the inner work on yourself. So that could be like through yoga, maybe popping into a yoga class before or after work, or an exercise or a fitness class, or going for your walks by yourself where you have that quiet time to contemplate and to reflect. It could be those times where you go and have a soak in the tub by yourself and you really honor that self-care. Maybe you go out, and you ground and you have that little bit of time out in nature. Maybe in your quiet times to journal, in your car when you're by yourself, listening to the music that you want to listen to, listening to the podcast that you want to listen to. Those times where you just sit in breath or meditation. Find those times where you can be by yourself regularly, not just when you have time. Make the time to have quiet alone time. Like the girls that I'm going through this coaching container with, and I've got, this week we were talking about awareness and what, just being aware of all different areas in our life, and having, I said to them, like, find a bit of time where you can be by yourself that you can quietly reflect on. And you do not have to tell anybody about what you're reflecting on, because it's what is in, you're noticing what's in alignment for your soul, for your higher self. And have those times where you do what you want to do, and be okay to go and do things away from your partner or away from your friends. Start being okay to do things by yourself, whether it's to go out and have lunch by yourself, or go to a dance class or a yoga class or an art class, a creative class, or a study, something that you're studying or something that you're diving into, or going to the beach by yourself to read a book. Have time alone from people, because it fills your cup up and it gets you more connected to going, this is what I like. This is what I enjoy doing. Because often we feel like we have to please everybody else and we have to show up and do what everybody else wants to do. have some boundaries and say, I'm actually going to go and have a bit of time by myself, or say no. If you get invited to something and you feel exhausted, you don't want to go, you want to go to bed early and do some journaling or just have a rest or have a nice self-care evening, say no. Have the courage to say no so that you can honor your sacred time and your sacred space. Have the courage to stand up for yourself. Have the courage to say, again, like with boundaries, but also maybe telling people that you're just taking a little bit of time out to do some healing work for yourself, or just don't even tell anybody at all, that have the power to just stay true to yourself. So when I say stand up for yourself, it doesn't mean like you have to verbally stand up for yourself, but have that, protect that part of you, stay true to yourself at all times, girls. It is going to boost your confidence and it is going to get you more in alignment with your authentic self and your higher self. And also be mindful, like don't judge people, like be mindful of, what you say to other people. Just be aware of how you're showing up. And if you find yourself, whether you verbally judge or say something out loud, or whether you think it to yourself, if people start to change, if people start to grow, just catch yourself and just maybe think to yourself, that's not a nice thought, or how can I pivot that? Or if you get jealous of somebody, be aware of it. We're all human, right? It happens to the best of us. But if you find that little bit of a competitive streak with somebody, that's okay. Just be aware of that, but go, no, this is not my journey. I don't need to compete. I just need to go inwards and to just show up for myself and just honor my own journey and just really staying true to yourself. Don't change to fit in, okay? One of the best pieces of advice I can give you is you are so incredible, so powerful, so special, exactly as you are. Yes, we change. Yes, we grow. Yes, we evolve. Yes, we learn. But don't change who you are to fit in with other people around you, okay? You have the courage to stand up and be yourself, because that, by you showing up and being true to your authentic self, it inspires other people to do the same. So just being mindful of, if you find yourself, behind closed doors being one way, and then when you go out to workforce or out with people out in public or out with your friends you've been friends with for years, and you kind of change just to fit in, to be liked, to have the same stuff that they have, just start to be aware of that and go like, why do I need to do that? And just little by little, be yourself and notice if you find yourself changing to fit in, because I'm telling you, when you are yourself, you will attract the right people, relationships, friendships, work environment. You will attract those right people. They will be drawn to you like a magnet, and the relationships will be more harmonious. They will be more balanced. They will be more loving, compassionate, beautiful, because you are in alignment with who you are, and you are just walking through the world like, this is who I am, girls, and this is who I am, just showing up and being me, and you will be like a magnet to people around you that are meant to be in your life. And just being mindful of just hanging around like-minded people, like in this container that I've got with the moment with the inner circle coaching girls. They've been saying like, it's just so nice to be with like-minded girls that get the journey, or that get me, or just, you can be your own, you can just show up and be so raw, so vulnerable, so open. And so, tell them, share with them the struggles that you're having, or share with them the challenges that you're facing, the little bit of just things that come up for you, and they're not going to judge you. They're going to be kind, they're going to be compassionate, they're going to be supportive. Make sure you're in environments like that. It could be, in a yoga class, it could be in a women's circle, it could be like, with a healing type group, it just could be like-minded friends, book club, like so many different people. Align with like-minded people that are going to support you. And girls, like, move your body. The more you can come into mindful movement, like your practices of yoga, of meditation, of stillness, the more you can find that little bit of peace, that little bit of connection, the more it opens you up to getting so connected with yourself that you start to walk through life with a different energy. You start to feel more empowered. You start to feel more capable. You start to feel more confident. But more importantly, you start to feel more at peace with who you are. You start to love on yourself a little bit more. You start to accept yourself or like yourself a little bit more when you go on this journey of self-discovery. But also, girls, remembering like it's a balance, right? You don't have to like throw everything out the window and go, I'm going to go on this spiritual journey and I'm never going to drink again, or I'm never going to hang out with those people again, or I'm just going to go and just do yoga and meditate and just, live like a monk. I'm not saying you have to do that. We're in this in this lifetime having this human experience. It's a balance, right? Like it's that balance. You're going to have trial and error. You're going to be triggered. You're going to have things that don't work out. You're going to have struggles. You're going to have times where you might be, going along really, really well and you go off the rails, and that's okay. You just keep getting back on. It's just the process of getting back into alignment, What makes me feel good? What lights me up? What makes me feel true to myself? What makes me feel more like myself, and getting back there and just having compassion for yourself, looking at yourself through the eyes of love, having that bit of compassion, having that awareness, but not beating yourself up if you go off track a little bit, because that's life. Like, we're having this human experience and you can still go on this spiritual journey. You don't have to go all woo or weird or hippie and, disregard everybody around you. I'm not saying that at all. You can honor your sacred time. You can protect yourself. You can keep parts of yourself private while still living in this human experience and just being mindful of who you maybe open up to. And you do not have to open up to anyone. You maybe just open up to a little group of people who are like-minded, or you may just choose to keep it yourself. Only you know the answer, and it will come through trial and error. It'll come through maybe telling somebody what you're doing, and they might resist it a little bit or give you a little bit of a hard time or make you feel a little bit uncomfortable. And then you just go, that's cool. But I might just keep that to myself, a little bit more private, and that's okay. It's a learning process, girls. It's a process of awareness, a process of pivoting, but just being okay with keeping that soul journey, that soul part of you private, and honoring her, showing up for her, staying true to her and protecting you, while still having these beautiful human experiences with those around you that you love. So I hope that helps, girls. I hope that helps give you a little bit more, permission to go, I can just keep things to myself. I can keep part of myself private. I don't have to share my whole journey on social media. I don't have to tell everybody what I'm doing, which I might be used to doing that. So it might be a little bit hard for you. It might take a little bit of practice, but that's okay. The most important thing is that you honor yourself, girls. Have a beautiful day, and I will see you soon. Mwah. So much love to you. Bye.